have a phenomenal party chair, because as I was coming on stage, which is very important for elected officials, she says, you have 2 minutes. So for those of you who are wondering how quick you're going to get out, I'm going to try and be brief. What I want to try and tell you is how important it is for you to stay engaged, and how proud you need to be for the Democrats that you helped get elected this last cycle. They have done extraordinary work. And I really want to give special thanks and praise to the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader, all the chairs in our legislature. They stood up, they stood strong, they protected democracy, they protected a woman's right to choose, they defended against bullies and folks who would tell lies about government and how we are setting out to try and protect the least among us. We are doing absolutely everything that we can, but it's incredibly, incredibly important that you stay engaged. Because what I need to tell you is that for those of us who have the privilege to serve in elected office, we are merely passing through. We are merely carrying the message and the values that you send with us to Santa Fe and to Washington, D.C., and I can tell you firsthand that we couldn't do any of this without you. And I also want to say that I have been up to some good trouble in my first 100 days. And I know that because some local officials here in New Mexico decided to sue the governor and I for the audacity to stand up for every human being in our community and say unequivocally that women control their bodies, they control their lives. We will stand for to protect them. I want to thank you all again for being here. I want to thank the incredible Democrats that I serve with and all the hard work that you have put in. We've only just begun, but stay committed, stay strong, and stay Democratic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Well, good afternoon, Democrats. Is your chair of the Democratic Party of New Mexico. Oh, it's a great day to be a Democrat. Thank you all for being here today. And you know, it's always a great day to be a New Mexico Democrat because we are the party of justice, of opportunity, progress, and compassion. We are the party of civil rights and reproductive freedom, of science and climate action, of family and community, of free and fair elections. My friends, we are the party of the people, by the people, for the people. We are the party of Democrats. We are Democrats. Say it loud, say it proud, say it with me. We are! We are! We are! And we are here together for the first time in 3 years in real life. Welcome to the 2023 Spring State Central Committee meeting. In accordance with our rules, I will now read the official call. This is the official call to the Democratic Party of New Mexico's Spring 2023 State Central Committee meeting and elections for the following purposes: reviewing the final reports from the DPNM officers, electing statewide DPNM officers, electing 2 CD vice chairs from each congressional district. CD means congressional district. Electing 2 CD representatives from each CD to the Affirmative Action Committee, the Budget and Finance Committee, the State Platform and Resolutions Committee, and electing additional at-large representatives to the Affirmative Action Committee and SPARK, the State Platform and Resolution Committee. The proceedings of this SCC meeting will be recorded and made available for online viewing by SCC members after our meeting. All SCC voting will be conducted pursuant to this SCC. Let me try that again. All SCC voting conducted pursuant to this SCC meeting will be conducted via absentee voting by non-secret ballot per DPNM rules. Article 1, Rule 5.6. I'd like to thank our parliamentarians here with us today. We do have Senator Bill Souls acting in this role. And we have Taylor Billy somewhere around here. There's Taylor in the back. Now, I have a gavel. Because we went on TV for so long, my friends, so I'm so thrilled to actually get to use a gavel for the first time as chair. So I now call this meeting to order. Now I'd like to introduce our wonderful Vice Chair, May we proceed to the Pledge of Allegiance and the salute to the New Mexico flag. Please, my friends, rise as you are able.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you all Democrats for being here. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now join me for the New Mexico Pledge. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Thank you, Democrats.
You may be seated, please. Now it is a joy to introduce to you the Democratic Party of New Mexico's Native American Caucus Chair, Isaac Dakota Casados, to introduce our guests of honor and lead our land acknowledgement. I would also like to thank Chair Casados for stepping into the MC for part of this program today. Ladies and gentlemen, Chair Casados.
If I can have the members of our Native American delegation join us this afternoon. While they make their way up here, what I'd like to remind us is it's important that we acknowledge the land on which we are working, organizing, and celebrating is that of Indigenous land. The land of our Tewa, Tiwa, Toa, Keres, Zuni, Hopi, Apache, and Diné people. We honor the thousands of years that our people and our civilizations have thrived in New Mexico, and honor the peoples who care for this land as their home, including the 19 Pueblos, the Navajo Nation, the Jicarilla Apache Nation, and the Mescalero Apache tribe. Land that our ancestors fought to preserve in the 1680 Pueblo Revolt. Land that provided us our first Native American Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland. Land that our families have cultivated and farmed. Land that we have taught our children to respect. And land that we are now tasked and championed to fight diligently as we lift up our own government's traditions, cultures, and way of living. It's also important for us to recognize and honor our sovereign nations out of respect for their enduring custodialship of the land, and to build awareness about the rights of Indigenous people and recognize that we must combat oppression wherever it exists. The Democratic Party of New Mexico is committed to our sovereign nations. And it's through these efforts collectively that we made history together as an SCC in bringing together 14 new members of our sovereign tribal communities the first time in U.S. history. Individuals join us here today, including the first female to ever be elected Vice President of the Navajo Nation, the Honorable Rochelle Monroe. Representative Charlotte Little. Representative Anthony Allison. office, Brian Lee. Council member from the Apache, from Mescalero Apache, Dwayne Duffy. Council member from Zia Pueblo, Dylan Sheehay. And all-around organizer, Rebecca Tutchin. The Democratic Party of New Mexico is committed to honoring the rights, land, and sovereignty and relationship with our 23 indigenous peoples, and we will continue to make history as a party by including these very important communities. Thank you all again. And we also have our future chair of the Native American Democratic Caucus, Santri Payochi, as well. Thank you, tribal leaders, for joining us this evening. With that, I would like to invite Environmental Justice Caucus Chair Jared Ames to give us a Earth Day acknowledgement, please.
Welcome, Democrats. So, ABC News coined in their reporting of Earth Day back in 1970 that it was an SOS for survival. Earth Day is the largest single day of protest in human history. In Albuquerque, Arturo Sandoval organized the largest Earth Day rally of Native and Mexican Americans to close a sewage plant and to be considered the first successful environmental justice initiative led by people of color. Today, as we celebrate Earth Day, we can look back and see both progress and setbacks. Earth Day resulted in the passage of the Clean Air Act and the Endangered Species Act. In 1987, the entire world joined the Montreal Protocol to ban CFCs resulting in ozone depleting emissions. And those emissions today are down by 99%. Now, unfortunately, since the 1970s, we are currently emitting 2.6 times more CO2, increasing temperatures worldwide. Even though 197 countries signed the Paris Agreement in 2015 to reduce carbon emissions, every one of the leading economists are falling short of their commitments. Our politics and this issue is increasingly more and more partisan as the years go by, making progress difficult. The worst part of the partisanship is the cover it provides to our own party in not acting with urgency. This legislative session in New Mexico also fell short on climate. Only a small fraction of the bills that we followed during the session passed. On this Earth Day of 2023, I appeal to all of you, the State Central Committee, to join our caucus and help us champion environmental justice so that we can put pressure on all of our legislators to make that a #1 priority at the legislative house in New Mexico. Some of my colleagues have cards, so if you haven't made it over to our table, to join. If you want to raise your hand, they'll give you a card and it's got a QR code to join. But happy Earth Day, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the stage our Chair Velasquez to give her chair report.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, at the last SCC meeting on November 12th, right after the election, we were celebrating sweeping victories up and down the ballot with fierce Democratic leaders winning around the state and securing majorities in the state house. Today, we're back meeting in person for the first time in 3 years, and we have much to be proud of. Our county parties have been working hard to keep our big blue election winning machine up and running. They put it into high gear recently, my friends, in the past few months by running local ward meetings where Democrats stepped up to serve at the county level, and as SCC members. And our party took historic action for diversity, equity, and inclusion by amending our rules to extend 14 SCC positions allocated to Democrats from sovereign tribal communities. So please join me in welcoming all of our newest SCC members from New Mexico's tribes, pueblos, and nations, and to our new and returning SCC members who are with us today. You, my friends, are the leaders who will help make all of our critical work possible. Let's look ahead. 2024 will be here before we know it, and we will keep Democrats in the White House, in the U.S. Senate, in the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., and right here at home, we will sweep the New Mexico Senate and New Mexico House races. No matter who the GOP puts forward, New Mexico is ready to send a resounding message. We vote our values. We vote for justice. We vote for the people, and my friends, we vote blue. Now, to prepare for this critical work, we're strengthening our party's infrastructure and expanding our organizing capabilities in some really new and exciting ways. We've managed to hire a full-time organizer dedicated to working directly with our county party, so county party chairs, get ready. We're not done with you yet, my friends. We've also invested in a new state-of-the-art organizing tool called Outreach Circle. More on that as we get rolling toward election season. With your continued help, volunteering, and paying the bills, we will certainly win big in 2024. Now, fundraising is an important role for me. It is an important role for all of our SCC members. Our party rules also say that we, the party, should be financed primarily by contributions from each of its individual members as their means allow, and the State Central Committee, all of you, have a role to play in fulfilling that policy. Let me do some math for you, and God have mercy, it's an English teacher doing math. So if I screw this up, forgive me. We have not quite 300 people in this room, so for sake of ease, let's round up to 300 people. If everybody chipped in $25 right now, and I encourage you to do this, you've got QR codes, you can go to nmdemocrats.org on your phone. I've got staffers about to run around and bring you some donation envelopes too. So I'm gonna see some donation envelopes rolling around this room any minute. Let's do some math. 300 people in this room, if everyone does 25 bucks right now, we will have raised $7,500 in this instant. That covers the cost of this meeting. Okay, so if you can do $25, I'm asking you from my heart to yours, help me at least pay for the cost of this meeting. Donation envelopes are coming your way, nmdemocrats.org. My friends, if you make that a monthly recurring contribution, that's $90,000. That covers more than 2 years of rent for party headquarters. That covers staff, salary, and benefits, because guess what? We're Democrats. We live our values. So we make sure our incredible staff is able to work and live with respect and dignity, right? All right, those are coming around. nmdemocrats.org, my friends, part of my job is to make sure that I'm always making an ask for financial support. Our successful fundraising, and you're going to hear more about this from our incredible treasurer, Ray Ellen Smith, has allowed us to maintain a state headquarters, to grow our internship program, to train future Democratic leaders, and retain world-class staff. Put your hands together for DPNM staff today, ladies and gentlemen. They did a great job. And together, we will remain laser-focused on our mission to elect fierce Democratic leaders up and down the ballot in every election. And my friends, as the most committed Democrats in New Mexico, we all understand that our work is never done. So thank you to everyone in this room for being on Team DPNM as we lead New Mexico to election victories for years to come. Because we're being joined by an incredibly special guest right now. So my friends, please rise, put your hands together for our senior senator, Martin Heinrich.
How about a big round of applause for our party chair? She's done an amazing job. Hello, Democrat. How many of you are going to put a little check in those envelopes that she was talking about? Let's kick it off. So far, I've raised well over $100,000 for this effort, but we'll do another 1,000 today if everybody will just kick in whatever we can. And just congratulations. And thank you all for going all in for our state by stepping up to help lead this party. It is really great to be here today, and it's great to see so many friends, so many leaders in one place and in person again. From our brothers and sisters in labor to all of the activists and advocates, to our candidates and elected officials, and especially to our county chairs and volunteers who are literally the backbone of this great party. I just want to say I appreciate everything you have done to move this state forward and to lift up the people who call this amazing state home. It's really because of your continued hard work that we are here today in a state that is continuing to trend blue, ready to embark on what I know will be a very consequential election that will affect the future of New Mexico's path to progress. It's a hopeful time to be in New Mexico, and that is because we have elected strong Democratic leaders who have gone all in for our collective state's future. In just the last few years, we as Democrats have accomplished more than most people thought was possible. We dismantled antiquated laws and ensured that women have the fundamental right to make their own health care decisions. We delivered economic and housing assistance so that so many who needed it to pull through the toughest of times, we helped them get back on their feet with dignity. And we passed historic voting rights legislation in New Mexico so that our state is now a national leader, a beacon of light for democracy across this country. We are leading the charge to address the climate crisis with implementation of clean energy projects across the state that will provide good-paying union jobs, the jobs of the future. And we worked together to amend our Constitution and make a historic, once-in-a-lifetime investment in our children and our future. And in the final days of last year, at the end of 2022, over the vociferous objections of Republicans like Mitch McConnell and Yvette Herald, we finished the first chapter of that effort by securing congressional approval for those changes to our Enabling Act so that we can make early childhood education a reality. Thanks to that decade-long grassroots effort, we can now make a consistent, sustainable investment in our children's early education. And I will tell you, there is nothing that I have worked on, nothing that we have worked on together that has more potential to improve the trajectory of our entire state than this investment in future generations. Yes. From educational outcomes to improved workforce readiness to a stronger New Mexico economy overall, this battle has really epitomized what this Democratic Party stands for and who our Democratic Party stands with.
we all know that there is more to do. We have municipal elections this year, we have a presidential election next year, and all of you in this room have agreed to step up and lead the charge in our great state. It is time for us to go all in once again and to get to work, to keep Democratic leaders in office so that decency and science and compassion and logic can continue to deliver big wins for our state. Together, we can create a future that is as boundless as our skies, as majestic as our mesas, and as welcoming as our New Mexico communities. It has been the honor of my life to serve this great state and all of you. This place we call home is very special on the planet on this Earth Day. And thank you all for joining me to fight for its future. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Treasurer Ray Allen Smith to give us the Treasury report, the proposed budget, and the GNSC report.
Thank you. I'm assuming that you were standing ovation for the senator, and I just walked into that, so I'm happy. Thank you so much. Oh, I've never seen such enthusiasm for numbers in my life. I'm so happy. Thank you all. Also want to just mention I am the president of Indivisible Albuquerque, and there's a few people in blue shirts. I just want to wave at them, so thank you very much for coming. Today's treasurer's report, we're using technology. So if you have a smartphone, if you would check on your chair for this piece of paper and scan this middle code, and I'll give you a second to do that. Because if you do that, you can follow along with exactly what I'm telling you here on the screen about our treasurer, the status of our financial status right now. We're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about the budget for the year and how our actual results turned out to our budget. And then we're going to give you the budget for the next 2 years that is required by the rules. You will be asked to approve these as SCC members, and I believe that approval is going to come in an email, Kathy? Ballot number 3. So what I'm going over right now, you will vote on to approve on ballot number 3. So everybody got it pulled up on your phone? All right, here we go. All right, so I just want to say what a true pleasure it is to work with the state party and bring their financial information into the 21st century. So we've spent a lot of time the last 2 years automating our processes using technology whenever we can. We don't handwrite checks anymore. Can you believe that? All our bills are paid online. Very difficult for anyone to manipulate the books when you don't have hard copy checks. Kind of hard. We've also instituted a lot of policies and procedures, which I'll show you towards the end of the presentation. For our first budget, I think we did a fair job, but we didn't have a lot of historical data to go on, so we had to do our best in estimating. Yes, if I could get a little quiet in the room, that'd be fantastic. But our fundraising in 2023, fiscal 2022-23 has been off the charts. And we're going to talk about something called reserves, because we actually have them. Which is a fantastic place to be. Fabulous. So no longer are we in a position at the state party level where we have to ramp up and hire a whole lot of people for campaign season and then lay them off. We don't have to do that anymore. If we can keep up this trajectory, and we really need your help to do this, we'll be able to keep fabulous staff in place all year long. That's a big change for us, and I know many of you have been around and remember how those cycles go. That's a big, important change. Our staff, with all the hard work they do, they deserve to know their job is gonna be around. And this is how we do it. So now a little more pressure, and I know Jess said it already, but I'm gonna say it again. Most SCC members, in fact, over 85% of SCC members do not regularly donate to the party. So, find that envelope, hit that QR code that Sean was talking about, become a monthly donor. When we get to the point where we have sustaining revenues that can at least pay our staff salaries, all the rest of that money goes to organizing for you around the state. We need to develop that habit. You are the governing body, and we need to develop that habit. So thank you. Sorry, just a little spiel there. We need you guys to step up. Thank you. Okay, so our opening cash on hand, and now I'm on the budget. Now I'm on the first page with all the numbers, and you can turn your phone, twist your phone, expand the numbers. We started off last year with about $200,000 cash in the bank. Over the course of the year, we were able to raise over $1 million to add to that. That was exceeding the budget by $40,000. Our expenditures for the year totaled about $877,000, which were under budget by about $70,000. So I like it when we're over budget in revenue and under budget in expense. That just makes me very happy and smile. So where that puts us for the year is that our when you add the total revenue over expense to the opening cash on hand, you get our ending cash on hand, and we finish the year. And remember, we're not quite finished because the fiscal year ends April 30th. So we still have a few days left, but at the end of March, which is what this data is through, we ended the ending cash on hand with $383,000. Not a bad place to be. Pretty exciting. So our excess budget over expenditures is principally due to fundraising, and I want to shout out to Jessica because she beat her fundraising goals by over 18%. Thank you. And our fundraising goals were quite aggressive, but our grassroots sustainers, we fell under by 25% of budget. That's where you guys can help us out. If you can donate even $5-10 a month throughout the year, that is just tremendously helpful. Remember that we break our budget into committed revenue and contingent revenue. And then we also do the same with expenses, core expenses and contingent expenses. And we'll talk about what those mean in just a second. But our budget forecasts were set high, but even that, we managed to exceed our contingent revenue sources by 6%. And we have plans in place to improve our fundraising goals in fiscal '24. Our core expenses are under budget overall by 11%. Our compliance and legal budget is under by 13%. Office operations exceeded by 23% because we rented a really great new space. Staff payroll and benefits costs came in at 18% under budget, and you can read all that on the next page. Our fundraising materials exceeded our budget by 13%, but that's not bad at all, and as I mentioned, our budgeting process got much better this year. So the next page is our budget. There's two columns there, one for 2024 and one for 2025. Our opening cash on hand for 2024 will be about $300,000, which we just mentioned. We're budgeting for $971,000 in committed revenue. That is national contributions, fees for services, donations, and expected events. Our contingent revenue sources will include our additional fundraising plans, small events, and miscellaneous income. We're budgeting at $300,000 for a total revenue for fiscal '24 of $1.2 million. So that's pretty great. We had an intensive budgeting meeting. It took 3 days, and I want to thank Sean and Jessica and members of the Budget and Finance Committee for attending and helping us work through this. We glommed over tons and piles of data and analysis in order to come up with this budget. This is probably one of the most I feel, most confident budgets I've ever helped prepare, and I've been doing this for a little bit of time. Our core purpose expenses, we're budgeting at a little over $1 million. Our contingent expenses at a little over $70,000. So our total expenses, our total revenue over expense, if everything goes to projection, will be about $172,000. We will add that to our opening cash on hand and have opening cash on hand at the end of next fiscal year. We're anticipating of about $500,000. Did you guys hear that? Let's say from that, we're going to deduct $240,000 and stick it in reserves. And that doesn't mean we can't spend it, but it means it's there when we need it. When we hit these big cycles and our fundraising goals aren't met, we've got something we can fall back on. And that is really, really important. So after all of that, we want to leave our ending available cash at $316,000 roughly. For 2025, we're budgeting pretty similarly to what we're budgeting in 2024. I won't go through all that, you can read it, but we're projecting that our ending available cash at the end of 2025 will be $137,000. Perfect time, as always. So, let me just talk to you a little bit about what's on this next page. This is going into detail about where we expect the budget to be for fiscal 24 and 25. That page looks like that. I don't know if you can see that, but if you're following along. Again, contingent committed revenue is what is planned and expected. That we're counting on. Contingent revenue can't be counted on to cover expenses. We don't know if we're going to get it or not. So we're planning ahead for it, but we need to count. We're not going to count on it, and it doesn't impact us covering salaries if we don't get it. We still have the money to cover our basic salary and rent expenses. Our core purpose expenses are those we expect to occur just to keep the doors open, and that's an important concept, and that matches up with our committed revenue. And then our contingent expenses are those for which the money must be raised before it is spent. So we can't spend it until we raise it. So if that means somebody can't attend a DNC meeting or an ASDC meeting because we haven't raised the money, then they can't go. I mean, we're really thinking about it that deeply and that hard. So that's some of that's new. So at the end of the document, you'll find some details on our draft financial policies and procedures. The last page in there is a link you can click. And then there's also a link if you want to see more detailed budget information than what I've just presented and what you see in the slides. You can go into a PDF of the actual spreadsheet and see as much gory detail as you want. And I just want to mention before I close, I am available for questions anytime you have one. So if you want to write my phone number down, I'll give it to you. It's 505-504-2275, or you can find me at rayellen@nmdemocrats.org. The county chairs and caucus chairs and county treasurers and caucus treasurers, I'll be holding some training in June to help get you up to speed. And please know you can call me at any time. I've been holding office hours every other Wednesday. Hardly anybody ever joins, so I'm thinking I just don't need to do that anymore, but I'm available anytime you have a question. Please don't hesitate to call me and rely on me to help you out, because we want to make sure you have all the information and help you need to be successful in your county. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our Vice Chair, Kristen, who will give us our Vice Chair report and the Judicial Council report and the bills.
Hello, Democrats again. Good afternoon. Okay, so here we go. Here's a summary of the business and activities that took place over the past few months since our last State Central Committee meeting. It's been wonderful to see so many fellow DNC members in Philadelphia from February 2nd through the 4th for our historic DNC winter meeting, where I was fortunate to vote to approve the 2024 presidential nominating calendar. The calendar looks like a Democratic Party that reflects the true democratic diversity of America. I prepared a report for you on our busy week at the DNC meeting. We were honored and privileged to have President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris giving remarks during our time together, and to also have Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi join us. The DNC also adopted Rules and Bylaws Committee report presented by co-chair James Roosevelt Jr. The report included a package of 5 proposed waivers to the Rule 12A, which establishes waivers for state-run primaries in 5 states: South Carolina on February 3rd, 2024, New Hampshire and Nevada on February 6th, Georgia on February 13th, and Michigan on February 27th. The adoption of the report was a momentous occasion where the DNC executed the vision of President Biden by adopting a calendar that expands the number of voices in early primary election window and elevates the diverse communities that are the core of our Democratic Party. Second, our finance and treasurer updates. National Finance Chair Chris Cord and Treasurer Virginia McGregor provided an update during both the Executive Committee meeting and the general session on the party's finances. Last cycle, the Democratic National Committee raised $100 million in major donor money and $170 million from grassroots supporters, with over 900,000 individual donors. That is more than twice as much as the DNC ever raised in a midterm cycle, and grassroots supporters made up more than 60% of that DNC funding. Third, caucus and council meetings. Throughout the DNC meeting, our Western Regional caucuses, as well as our constituency caucus and councils, held engaging, interactive meetings to discuss their work. This past Tuesday, I was appointed to be an executive committee and a member at large for the DNC Small Business Council. With that being said, I will have representation on the Democratic National Committee for you all for eternity. It's a permanent seat, folks. We once again held a Dems Care event, and at this Dems Care event, Democratic National Committeeman Jamie Harrison's service initiative held in conjunction with DNC meetings, we helped out a lot of people. This winter meeting provided me an opportunity to give back to young adults between the ages of 14 and 19 years old by joining Chair Harrison to bundle hygiene products. I partnered up with my favorite, Christine Pelosi, and California DNC committee woman, and we had a blast doing our delivering to Dems bags. We were able to assemble 581 bags for teenagers. Our next meeting is set to be in St. Louis, Missouri on October 5th through the 7th, 2023, and it will be this fall. As for my work in New Mexico, since the 22 fall SCC meeting, the DPNM Judicial Council, which I preside over as vice chair, met once. We considered a complaint by Ryan Joseph submitted to the Judicial Council on February 17th, 2023 against the Otero County Party Chair Jeff Swanson and Vice Chair Matthew Crecelius. Ryan Joseph alleged that then Chair Jeff Swanson and Matthew Crecelius did not allow him in the meeting. The Judicial Council met on March 1. In the complaint indicated that they are not a registered Democrat in the state of New Mexico. Therefore, the Judicial Council found in its investigation that the complaint did not have standing to bring a complaint in front of the Democratic Party of New Mexico's Judicial Council. If you're not registered as a Democrat, it's that simple. On March 1st, I notified Ryan Joseph that the Judicial Council met and dismissed the complaint and would take no further action concerning this matter. Woo! Yay! Woo! You're welcome, Mr. Crecelius. Finally, as DPNM Vice Chair, I have had the privilege of crisscrossing our great state, meeting so many of you, and working towards our shared goal of promoting democratic values and principles. It has been an honor of a lifetime to represent our beautiful party at events launching campus kickoffs, and energizing our volunteers. I have been so fortunate enough to travel extensively throughout the different counties in the state, from Farmington to Silver City to Las Cruces, Portales, Roswell, Española, Aztec, Santa Fe, Albuquerque, Belen, Red River, my hometown of Las Vegas, Bernalillo, and many other places in between. And Sandoval, yes, oh my gosh, thank you. I did forget you, Alex, I love you. I'm proud to work towards advancing our democratic agenda with you. It's because of your dedication and hard work that we've been able to achieve so much, and I'm honored to stand with you in this fight. Thank you so much, New Mexico Democrats, and I yield the floor to the GPNM State Rules Committee. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joe McCaffrey and Alyssa Grissom from the State Rules Committee to give their report.
Okay, we're going to give the report of the Rules Committee. I'm Joe McCaffrey. Lisa
Grissom, yes.
So, I'm going to start out. How many of you have a copy of our report already? So we met, we were appointed in May of 2021. And following are the members. Heather Benavides, she's the chair, but she can't be here. Vice Chair Adam Summers. Kathy McCord, I think she's here in the audience. Jake Powell, Randy McGuinn, John Keys, Clarence Smith, Alyssa. Say it correctly, Joe. I have an easy name. Tweety Suazo, Vincent Stoll, Mark Sandridge, myself, and Wanda Harrison. Rules Committee, by Article 2, Section 7.1 describes the committee's purpose, its powers, authorities, duties, member requirements, and all the other guidelines for meetings and skills. We have various responsibilities, including recommending the revisions to the existing rules, assisting counties in adopting and amending their supplemental county party rules. During the very busy term, we held 22 meetings, had a quorum in all but one. We worked very hard to make our rules clearer, more equitable, and easier for people to comprehend. This is an ongoing project for sure.
So the State Rules Committee has unanimously passed 16 proposed amendments out of committee and put them forward to the SCC for adoption. Of those 16 amendments, 15 have been adopted by overwhelming majorities, and this represents a 93.75% success rate. We collaborated with the State Party Treasurer and the Budget and Finance Committee to greatly enhance the GPNM rules about the Treasurer's roles and responsibilities and the functions of the PNFC. We collaborated with the Native American Caucus to draft a model rule about SCC members representing sovereign tribal communities, which will be replicated and used by the DNC. We worked together to develop a process and comprehensive rules for absentee voting or secret ballots.
We partnered with other standing committees to develop a DPNM code of conduct, which is still a work in progress. We worked with several county parties on issues related to the rules, including assisting with the revisions and consulting on interpretation. We created and are strengthening our partnership with the DPNM caucuses and affiliated organizations to collaborate and to present revisions, including reporting requirements. We made corrections and additions to our own rules to ensure that our rules are compliant with state statutes, which they were not when we started.
So we proposed several improvements to the functioning of the SCC, including uniform terms of office and standing SCC alternates. We have adopted our DPNM rules adapted our DPNM rules to the reality of party organization and function in the 21st century. So we've accomplished, we've accomplished so much, and there is more work to be done. During these past 2 years, the Rules Committee has done an excellent, thoughtful job, or at least we've tried, of striving for the common good. So here's to 2 years of successfully working together and continued collaboration. We want your input in the new term. Thank you for all of your hard work. And if you scan that QR code for the agenda, you'll see those 16 amendments listed out, but I won't read them all to you.
Please welcome to the stage our Spark Committee Chair, Jay Levine.
Good afternoon, Democrats. So good to see everybody in the room again. It's been way too long. I have a speech here. I'll get to that in a second. I just want to say our Spark Chair, Jessica, has done so much. Sorry, excuse me. I just spoke. Our DPNM Chair, Jessica Velasquez, has done so much for Spark, and I just want to say thank you again for all you've done. Okay, so Spark had 2 meetings since our last report. We were in Shiprock and Farmington on December 9th and 10th, respectively, and on February 11th, we were in Albuquerque. Thanks to all the folks who showed up for those meetings, everybody. It was such a pleasure, and we so appreciate all of you being there with us. For me, our in-person meetings around New Mexico are my favorite parts of Spark. The interaction, discussions, and learning from and with fellow New Mexico Democrats, the speakers that frequently teach me things, including so much that I didn't know. We continue to have such a high caliber of speakers to help us understand the crucial topics of the day. I am grateful for everyone that shows up for these meetings. They are an essential part of the platform process. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve on Spark, the State Platform and Resolutions Committee. Thank you to the members of Spark that dedicated so much time and effort. You are amazing humans. I appreciate you all. And thank you for trusting me as chair. I am humbled by your support and dedication. Today we're bringing 3 resolutions to the SCC for a vote. They are entitled, Encouraging Protected Bike Lane Construction in New Mexico, to promote an electric high-speed rail system, and third, encouraging high-density housing in New Mexico. So I'm going to read just a small part of each of the resolutions. It's called the Be It Resolved section. And here's the first one. Encouraging protected bike lane construction in New Mexico. Therefore, be it resolved that the Democratic Party of New Mexico strongly urges the state of New Mexico to pass legislation requiring the installation of protected bike lane infrastructure on all streets and roads slated for reconstruction or other improvement projects. And there's a whole bunch more of be it resolved. I'll leave that for y'all when you get the emails for voting. The next one is to promote an electric high-speed rail system. We all know we need better transportation systems in New Mexico. Therefore, be it resolved that the Democratic Party of New Mexico supports through the advocacy and other actions of its members, including our elected officials and officials in the federal and state executive agencies, the following. I'm just going to be the first one since there's a lot here. Legislation to fund a state government study in meaningful consultation with affected rural communities of working people and people of color to determine the best plan for financing and building a high-speed rail system that is supported by local public transit in a balance and efficiency and access. All right, so that's the second resolution. The third resolution being brought is called Encouraging High-Density Housing in New Mexico. And the first part of the be it resolved says, yes. And more people should be clapping for high-density housing in New Mexico. Thank you. And here's the first be it resolved. Therefore, be it resolved that the Democratic Party of New Mexico, DPNM, strongly urges the state of New Mexico through rewriting tax codes, zoning rules, and regulations to encourage high-density developments and discourage single-family homes. And it's a lot longer than this, and as just as a personal note, housing in New Mexico is in crisis mode as it is around a lot of the country. I know Albuquerque, and I live in Taos. Taos, we're both in crisis on housing, and we need to do a lot of things about it. And that's the end of my stump there for that issue. And I just want to say one other thing as to end my speech. I'm done with the Spark part of it. Personally, I just want to say I am looking forward to having voting back in person at these meetings. I think it's about time we bring that all back here. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Richard Cooley to give us the Affirmative Action Committee report and the members of the Affirmative Action Committee.
Hi everyone, my name is Richard Cooley and I've been chosen by the Affirmative Action Committee to speak to you today. I'm sorry, I'll speak up. Of course my printer last night went out, so I'll make this very short. Our report is online for you to read. The purpose of the Affirmative Action Committee is to recruit the most diverse groups to the Democratic Party. Our inclusion and diversity and outreach plan for the 2024 DNC convention in Chicago will be very broad and inclusive. And we are proud to highlight the following groups. We have chosen 12 different groups, and I'm going to name them right now. African Americans, Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, AAPI, the LGBTQ plus community, people with disabilities, veterans, youth, union members, our rural population, senior citizens, and our housing challenge. We are the only state that has added housing challenge to our goal. We don't have quotas, we have goals. And so we are very proud of that. And I would like to introduce our chair, Denali Fomakan, our vice chair, Kate Turnbull, our secretary, Julie Brown, our member, Manny O'Carey, Gina Cass, and others who could not be with us today. So, we've come to a challenge this year because of COVID that we met through Zoom, and there's been some criticism about us not reaching quorum. We had chose not to meet in public and because of the COVID, and we thought we did a pretty good job, and we will not hear any criticism. We're trying to be inclusive, and I'm so proud of New Mexico. Today we showed our inclusiveness with our Native American population, and we should be so proud here in New Mexico. So I look forward to you all as members of the State Central Committee to help us reach our goals, because 2024 will be here before we know it, and I hope that all of you who are willing, have the want, the need, the drive, will run for the convention delegates. I've been honored to be gone twice. I cannot tell you how wonderful it is. And if you're a political dork like me, it's so cool to sit and have with Madeline Albright. I had lunch with her. we met, I mean, you name the people and we met them. And I was lucky enough to meet Senator Kennedy before he passed away. I met Grandma Biden, and I didn't know what else to call her, so I called Joe Biden's mother. I called her Grandma Biden. So I just want to wish you, help us reach our goals and be proud. Give yourself a hand today, this inclusive group. Thank you so much.
Susan Kelly, if this is your phone, you left it in the restroom. Here you go. Big round of applause for Susan. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our committee reports. Now we're going to hear from our amazing caucuses. Our caucuses do a tremendous amount to help keep New Mexico blue. They reach key constituent groups, and they highlight the most important issues of our time. They give a voice to our historically underrepresented communities. I know that during the 2 years that Chair Velasquez and the executive team has been there, that they're going to continue to work with those members to continue to develop more caucuses and ensure that every community has a home within the Democratic Party of New Mexico. So let's all applaud our wonderful DPNM caucuses. We are also been informed that the chair of the Hispanic Caucus, Representative Patricia Roybal Caballero, was unable to attend today due to a personal matter, but we do thank the Hispanic Caucus for all their important work. Our first report today will be from the Adelante Progressive Caucus. If I could have Patty French come up, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Patty French and I am the chair of the Adelante Progressive Caucus. And I want to say to all of you that know Cheryl Harris, the reason that I am chair was elected because Cheryl has given so much of her time and effort to all the Democrats in New Mexico, and unfortunately she is going to be moving to Utah, our red state, where her family is. And she has promised me that she will work very, very hard there to try to turn that state blue too. But I just want to say, I see everybody has a speech written. I don't have a speech. I have some notes, so I'm just going to admit it. With Adelante, what we really stand for, what we're working for, is we try to engage young people, people of color, women, indigenous people. This is what we work for. We work very hard for that. So, in the last 6 months, we have been trying to have outreach. We teamed up with the EJ Caucus and we went to Otero County and we met with those Democrats there. We're asking people, if you want us to come, we will definitely come to your area, your city, and we want you to know that we're there for you and we want to engage you and your members. But with that being said, let me just say that the Adelante Caucus, we worked and we helped, and we worked very hard statewide to turn CD2 blue. And we did it. We're going to continue to pull CD2 1, 2, and 3 and make sure that they're all blue. That's what we have to do. Now, we were also in Santa Fe, we worked on climate control, we worked on economics, we worked on reproduction rights, we worked on gender equity, and I will say we have a blue Santa Fe. We have a Democratic governor, we have majority in the House, we have majority in the Senate. And I was kind of disappointed, it's unfortunate, that we didn't get more done when it comes to gun violence and climate control. But you know what? We are gearing up for the 2024 session right now. And we're going to be holding our elected officials accountable to our platform, and our platform addresses all of that. And we're going to make sure that if we put you in office, you're going to uphold our platform and our beliefs. And if you don't, we'll take you out of office. So we have the power, and we will continue to work hard to make this a great state. And I will like to say Jay is the head of Spark, but our platform has been recognized nationwide as one of the most progressive platforms in the nation. And that's because we work hard to make sure we have representatives on committees, that they're working in the rural areas, that they're on every committee in the Democratic Party. And we will continue to do that. And just like I said, I'm very proud of how many progressives we got elected this year. So thank you very much. And we hope to move this party forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gabriel Gallegos, the Young Democrats of New Mexico.
Hello, Democrats! Who is ready to win in 2024 and beyond for Democrats of New Mexico? My name is Gabe Gallegos, the chair of the Young Democrats of New Mexico. Young people continue to show up in New Mexico. In 2022, we elected a stellar class of Democrats to elected office across New Mexico. Together, we called voters across New Mexico, sending Gabriel Vasquez to Congress. We gotta keep there. And our governor, back to Santa Fe, to continue to deliver wins for all New Mexicans. Not only did we show up, we ran, bringing a fresh voice to the table and continuing to build a bench of young candidates that can run and win in this state. Together with our partners, with our allies, with our friends, we're continuing to build our digital outreach, resourcing each other and resourcing young Democrats across the state to deliver wins for candidates, to bring a different voice and a new voice to issues that matter most to young Democrats. Now, we are readying to take on new fights this year and in 2024 to make sure that we not only keep New Mexico blue, but our entire country blue. We have organized ourselves into committees to start training candidates, raising funds, and building a strong foundation for the future, and continuing to bolster our relationship with the Young Democrats of America. So we thank you for your continued support of Young Democrats, and let's get ready to win in 2024. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the Black Caucus, Clarence Smith.
Hello, fellow Democrats. I'm going to yield about a minute. She has an announcement.
I'm so sorry, everyone, and I was told right away. For those that know Cheryl Harris, we are giving her a farewell party. It's going to be on June the 4th, and I believe it's from 1 to 5. And we have a poster out there if you want to contribute, and we need a RSVP. It's going to be at Laura Lucero's home, but it's just going to be in and out. So I just want to make sure that everybody that knows her gets a chance to come and say hi, and we're sorry to see you leave.
Once again, good afternoon. You know, this lady at church told me, it's no problem getting old, it's just an inconvenience. From the Black Caucus of New Mexico, after the fall SCC meeting, the members of the Black Caucus was highly engaged in the 2023 legislative session. Our work with the legislative session began after supporting and helping many Democrats retain and get elected to the New Mexico legislature. During the legislature, our focus was on the safety of our children and reducing gun violence, particularly as it affected children. We worked diligently to help ensure the House Bill 9, also known as the Benny Hargrove Gun Safety Act, was passed and signed by the government. And I'd like to recognize Representative Cameron Herman for working hard helped ensure the members of the African American community was engaged in the legislative session and understood the process used to ensure good legislation enacted in our state. Our goal after the legislative session has been focused on increasing the membership in our organization, making sure that the mental wellness of children is addressed, and ensuring that families throughout the state are aware of the changes in healthcare and healthcare protocols that will be implemented in the upcoming months now that the health emergency will soon be lifted by President Biden. Over the next 6 months, the Black Caucus will be working to get more people of color and women engaged in learning about and pursuing positions in the professional skilled trades. Our state is lacking in various skilled trades that are essential to effective operation in our state. We will be working on strategic ways to provide messaging to encourage people to fill the deficit and that exists in the positions in our state. We also want to inform people about the use of water and water shortages in our state may be facing in the near future. The one action that our caucus will be pursuing is to encourage people to use water strategically and judiciously. Water is a precious limited resource that we must all work to protect. The water levels in New Mexico are considerably lower than they should be as a result of climate change and other environmental factors. The caucus will be working to bring awareness to the need to protect our water supply. In closing, I'd just like to say with all the caucuses, we will be working to ensure that the elections next year, we're going to make this state or keep this state blue. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Veterans Caucus, Mr. Bob Carroll.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Carroll, and I'm the Vice Chair at Large for the Veterans and Military Families Caucus. In March, our caucus held its executive committee elections, and Claudia Reisner is the chair of was elected as chair of our caucus. Claudia is a former Navy captain who is serving her second two-year term as chair. We have over 300 caucus members, and in this latest election, 73 of them voted, which is really pretty good. Our membership, of course, includes veterans, but it also includes military families, people in our organization who grew up, had parents in the military, or their children, or their brothers or sisters. They're important members of our caucus as well. We were very active in our advocacy work in this 60-day session. Of the 1,000 bills that were dropped, we picked 70 that we followed very closely. We had a core group of members who testified in committee hearings by Zoom or in person. We wrote one-page position papers on our high-priority legislative issues. Most of the legislators don't have anything in the way of administrative help. So the fact that we are able to give them a one-pager was very helpful. When I see somebody thanking me, it's very helpful to the legislators. We also visited the legislators in person to thank them for sponsoring or supporting our caucus priorities. This was our third session where we produced a report card on the legislators, which is always fun, which you can find on our website at nmvetscaucus.org. We classified legislators as champions or heroes if they sponsored our bills or had great voting records on our issues. Most were Democrats. There's Harold Pope there. He sponsored a lot of ours. But we did have some Republicans this year that were reliable supporters, and we gave them credit in the report card. We do have an AWOL designation, which means absent without leave, which means you don't show up for veterans. We had a lot more of those last year than we did this year. Most legislators we base it on objectively how did they vote. Did they vote for us, with us, or against us? Most legislators try to avoid being labeled as AWOL by active veterans groups such as ours. Like I said, last year we had quite a few, but actually published them as AWOL. We were down to one this year. So we had our successes and failures. I suppose for us, the most frustrating thing, since most of us don't regularly attend legislative hearings, was showing up at a hearing and testifying and getting rousing support and sometimes even unanimous support. But the bill would never get to the floor for a vote. But we'll be back next year. We'll give it another try to get it across the finish line. Thank you very much, and appreciate your service in the state legislature.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jared Ames from the Environmental Justice Caucus.
Well, it's been about a year and a half since all of you voted for the Environmental Justice Caucus to be a caucus of the Democratic Party. And we have been really focused on our recruitment and mobilization over the last 6 months or so. And today we have exceeded 200 members for our membership. So about 30 of you joined out at the tables. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. We want to be working on reaching out to counties. So we just drove down to Otero County and talked with a lot of Democrats down there a few weeks ago, and this is how we're going to grow our party, or grow our party, but grow our caucus. And so if anyone is interested in hearing from the Environmental Justice Caucus, whether you're a county, a ward, a precinct, or just a group of like-minded Democrats, please reach out to us. We would love to talk with you and also hear about your issues as well. Now, one of the things we also have been focused on is candidates in the legislative session. We look at during the election, we endorsed candidates that supported environmental issues, that we would actually go out and knock doors and reach out during the election. This legislative session, we championed legislation, we wrote letters, we attended hearings, and provided testimony in support of environmental justice bills. After the session, we looked at all of our legislators and kind of ranked our legislators who were supporters. We ranked them as champions, allies, or I should say champions, stars, or allies. And so I'm going to give our champions a quick shout out. These are the folks that we ranked the highest and really championed our legislation. For our folks who are in the House of Representatives, Joanne Ferrari, Carla Lujan, Patricia Rueda Caballero, Deborah Siriana. For our senators, we have Pete Campos, Gary Hamblin, Shannon Pinto, Antoinette Cedillo Lopez, Willie Scholes, Lisa Thomas, and Jeff Steinborn. In summary, 8 of our bills we supported passed and became law. Unfortunately, that was a fraction of the legislation we advocated for. Legislation like the Green Amendment didn't make it out of committee. Geothermal passed the legislature, but unfortunately was vetoed. So in closing, our working groups continue to tackle issues like renewable energy, water, sustainable transportation, and sustainable life. We work with groups and supported groups that to stop the asphalt plant in Mountain View. We are currently speaking out against the merger of P&M and Avangrid. Some cards, like some postcard kind of things to fill out on that. We need to let the PRC know, we need to let the governor know not to support that merger. And we again ask all of you to join our caucus. We need your help, we need your advocacy for a more sustainable future for our Earth. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Please welcome to the stage from the Rural Caucus Chair, Evelyn Vinograd, and her committee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Evelyn Vinagrado. I'm the chair of the Rural Caucus, and thank you, Jessica, for the English teacher doing math up here. Now you're going to get the math teacher doing English up here. So, as I said, I'm the caucus chair for Rural New Mexicans. We have Henry Roybal, our vice chair, Amy Noriega, our treasurer. Torres Leyva is our secretary. I don't know if he's here or not. Steffi Weisberg, part of our executive committee. Bill Ranovich up here. Rules committee chair. Carol Young membership. Russell Wilson is our finance chair back there. Isaac, right there, is our CD3 at large. Mona Trendy is out there, CD2. There she is. And Spike Mercury's ill. He's our CD1 rep. For the caucus. I want to thank all of the executive committee chairs and the statewide congressional district at large members for their work. We look forward to working together with all of the newly elected and appointed executive committee officers, and especially the new caucus members. We currently have about 140 members, but by the people capturing the QR code today, we probably have 50 new members. So welcome and thank you. We would encourage you to check out the Rural Caucus website. It's simple, nmruralcaucus.com. Our caucus has been newly reformed in the past 2 years. We're expanding our outreach, networking, and we want to avoid transparency on all matters. Our megaphone is large, and we encourage all caucuses to join us in the message. I've heard the word rural many times today, and I appreciate that. We have to pay attention to our rural New Mexicans. On our website, on the front page, there's a listing of our meetings. It's simple, just email, I'll send you the Zoom link. All of our meetings are Zoom because we are a statewide caucus. We are no longer just in a certain geographical area. We will reach out to everyone. In the past 6 months, we've had various caucus representatives sitting in on Zooms, personal meetings from the federal all the way down to local levels. On the federal level, we continue to communicate with the National Infrastructure Bank Initiative, and we support this cause. Also, we're affiliated with the DNC's Rural Strong program. Thanks, Trish, Rural Caucus DNC rep over there. On the state and county levels, we work with representatives from other DPNM caucuses, county parties, friendly affiliates, specifically and especially the Veterans Caucus and Blue CD2 New Mexico. See our website for details about our upcoming coordinated outreach initiative. This is going to be a really exciting new project. I've spoken to several county chairs today. We are coming to visit you. On the local level, we tend to focus on single issue concerns. Most recently, for example, making our collective rural voice heard regarding an anti-abortion ordinance in my small local community, and the devastating impact that such an ordinance would have on a small rural area. So those of you from Port House, Eunice, understand what I'm talking about.
Cheryl also.
Otero, thank you. We put in a word with the Attorney General. He was here today. He knows what's going on. This is where rural caucus can work. All of us work together. So thank you for your attention. Please consider joining the caucus. Go to the Rural Caucus website. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Democratic Federation of Women, please welcome Beverly Michael.
Good afternoon, Democratic Party of New Mexico State Central Committee. I'm so happy and excited always to be here in a room with all of you fine people. Here to give our report for the New Mexico Federation of Democratic Women, but before